Frederico, thanks for the follow, bro. Popping in right as I go live. Appreciate you. I like that the word ricotta with one T is in the middle of your name. Frederico Taylor. Freddie Ricotta. Hope you love that. Hope you love cheese. What brings you by? You're just wandering down Twitch? Or do we know each other from somewhere, from some online community? Hi, Shana. Pleasant to see you. Hope you and hubby are well. Hope your gestation is marvelous. Unless you're actually hubby, signed into the wrong account. Hey, Othniel. What is up? Othniel's Blade. With that first badge. I love that. Here from the beginning. Malale, buenas. Sem nome, salve. Boa noite a todos os brasileiros e os sul-americanos, né? Meia-noite em São Paulo. Não, 11 horas, né? Ainda 7 da noite aqui. E estamos bem ao norte, né? Quase na fronteira com o Canadá, então. E estamos na parte oriental da nossa faixinha de horário. Então tem bastante luz ainda. Fred, entrou pela primeira vez no Twitch. Cara, que bom. Tem um lugar muito especial para Porto Alegre no meu coração. União Literária de Escritores Brasileiros, boa noite. A UIB. É a união inteira. Deixando no comentário. Good to see everyone. Muito bom ver todo mundo. From YouTube to Twitch. Boa noite. Salve a todos. And good evening all. I am smoking Pirate Cake. E eu tô com Pirate Cake na sacolinha, né? Márcio! Um dos fiéis, dos bem-amados. Bem-vindo, cara. Good evening. Então tá quase todo quebrado, né? Mas tá sobrando esse bolinho, né? Esse bolinho de cake. Yeah, pipe is very nice. Cachimbo, cara, relaxa, ajuda na meditação, né? Speaking of first badges, Desert rolls in. Rolls in big. What is up, my dude? Yeah, great for quiet nights. How are you doing, Desert? You got through a wave of birthdays? Já cachimbaste, Fred? Então, acabo de entender, Fred, que tu me seguiu no Twitch e agora tá no YouTube. Othniel says, I accidentally packed my pipe into a box in the storage. Alas, dude. Well, I can point out right away one of the flaws that I see with your setup. You said my pipe, like you only own one pipe. Just saying. It's for exactly that sort of eventuality. You need a couple. I moved to the farmers until May 5th. Ooh. Man, but May is sneaking up on us, eh? Márcio, maybe next month I got a new PC ready. Nice, dude. Aí você vai voltar a streamar? Eu vi que você fez um streaming daqui a uns dias atrás, né? Desert, getting ready for a vehicle auction in the morning. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I know that would come in handy, Desert. I'll pray for that. You got a very good price. Othniel's still a noob, yeah. Who dat? Whoa, who dat? Who has a Saturday of rugby to be preparing for, and I'm pleased to be a part of that for him. I'm doing well. Who dat Gaming, y'all. So my mods are all on Twitch right now. They cannot give a shout out on YouTube. But if y'all are watching on YouTube, check out Who Dat Gaming. Who Dat YT Gaming. Fun video gaming streams. I am doing well, Who Dat. Hope you are as well. Wonder if you're going to be streaming later tonight. Fred, essa é a primeira live que consigo assistir ao vivo mesmo. Cara, primeira vez. Inacreditável. Bem-vindo. Se tivesse, né, uma boa cachaçinha, um whisky, tivesse um cachimbo também, né? Aí a gente podia fazer um hangout mesmo, né? Mas, cara, bem-vindo. Who Dat? Thanks, coach. I'm doing good. I'll actually stream later tonight. There you go, guys. Check out Who Dat YT Gaming. And he calls me coach because I am his rugby coach. Valeu, hein, Fred? So for those of you who are new to the stream, it's mostly just this, my talking head. Tonight, when I stream, and this is the case tonight, I usually stream to both Twitch and YouTube because I got my start on YouTube. And so if you want to see what people on the other platform are saying, you can see what's on the screen. I also respond in the language that people speak to me in, as long as it's English, Spanish, or Portuguese. So you see a little bit of that. Man, now that I see the smoke command popping up on Twitch, I am smoking Pirate Cake, K-A-K-E, if one of my mods is able to change that. Na próxima, diz o Fred, separa uns 5 malte e um cachimbo para essa ocasião. Perfeito. E olha, o difícil, né, é que eu não faço live com regularidade, né? Então não dá para fazer planos. É meio espontâneo mesmo. El bolo pirata. É, o bolo pirata, né? Pirate Cake. Só que é escrito mal, né? Man, my daughter is tearing down the hill on her roller skates at breakneck speed. That's the noise you guys are hearing, her and her friend. Well, y'all, if you haven't told me how you're doing yet tonight, I would love to hear and what it is you are up to. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of where I am. Yeah, it's a pleasant little day. Tomorrow it should be all rain. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to moving into a house in just a couple of weeks. Oh, she's having a blast, Desert. Yeah, she spends most of her time outside, which is great. Gente, eu vi que a justiça proibiu uma menina homeschooler, né? Que se deu muito bem em todas as provas, né, que tem para entrar na faculdade. Foi aceita na USP, Politécnica de Engenharia, acho. E a justiça está proibindo ela entrar. Não por competência acadêmica, mas porque ela, né, para reforçar as escolas mesmo. Does it get breezy in there? Jonathan, it does occasionally. Good to see you, Jonathan. It does. If the wind catches it right, then it becomes an absolute wind tunnel. Todd Taylor, welcome. Working night shift at the old chemical plant. Todd, are you familiar with the song by Great Big Sea called the Chemical Workers Song? I think is what it's called. And it's go, boys, go. They'll time your every breath. So Othniel says he's doing well. Oh, thanks, Desert. Not a purchase, just a rental. Othniel says, oh, doing well, just rocking a teething daughter to sleep. Well, yeah, I'll continue to sing Great Big Sea to her. Othniel says, ooh, I lost Othniel's comment here. Finally sold our home, moved out officially yesterday. Staying with family until we move into our new place in southern Manitoba. You get to cheer for the Tiger Cats. That's exciting for you. No, I hope that goes well, man. Yeah, I like Great Big Sea quite a bit, Todd. But yeah, the song's very dark and very manly. Like it's just drums and a male chorus, like the singers in the band. That's it. Yeah, I knew my Canadians would enjoy that. Well, Neil. Desert, still more space for your family. Yes, exactly. It's a step in the direction. That's right, Desert. The direction I am praying for. So usually, when I log in to do a pipe smoking stream, there are at least a couple of other pipe smokers with me, but it seems that not tonight. Tonight I smoke alone. Well, I'm not alone. I have company. But I am the sole smoker. So tomorrow we have an all-day tournament, a couple hours north of here. It's going to rain all day. It's going to pour for most of the day. It's going to be rough. No, we found a lovely 13.35 acre place just a mile north of the U.S. border. Wow. People get a job that I know I'll fit into well. Boom. That's great, Othniel. What an answered prayer. Vic. I just reread The Lord of the Rings. Nice. What's your favorite passage? Also, Treebeard is supposedly based on C.S. Lewis. Yes, I've heard that about Treebeard. So, I have a lot of favorite parts. Probably as the Rohirrim are arriving at the Battle of Pelennor Fields and the battle turns. That's probably my favorite part. I actually used to have a couple of passages from Pelennor Fields memorized. And in the distance... There we go. Sweet. Thanks for the follow, Bluckle. Black Pound. Oh, wow. I just said the words Black Pound out loud. Let's see. And in the distance, as if an answer, a cock crew, recking nothing of wizardry or war, but welcoming only the sun that came with the new... No, shoot. I'm skipping a part. Anyway, so it's a chapter that ends in horns, 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 and Mindolo wildly blowing. And then I also know the part where Elwyn faces down the Lord of the Nazgul. Hey, Cookie, sweet! Thanks for editing that. Desert, can you send some of that water down here? Yeah, that's southern New Mexico. Othniel, indeed, you probably recall me mentioning the plan to go east last year. Yep. Yeah. So let me see if I can remember the Elwyn one. I put a video of this out of my company. Exactly. Let's see here. You stand between me and my lord and kin. Let's see. Be you living or dark undead? How does the start go? Dang nabbit. Well, I guess I'll start with thou fool. No. You stand between me and my lord and kin. But be you living or dark undead, I will smite you if you touch him. Hinder me, thou fool. No living man may hinder me. Wait, dang nabbit, there's the part about the houses of lamentation, beyond all darkness, where thy flesh shall be devoured, and thy shriveled mind left naked to the lidless eye. Do what you will, I will hinder it if I may. Hinder me, thou fool. No living man may hinder me. No man am I, you look upon a woman. Yes, that one, Cookie. The conversation between Elwyn and Aragorn is pretty awesome. About being destined for sterner things in the kitchen. Yeah, I admit that my discomfort with that dynamic when I was a child has carried into adulthood. Gilmore Greco. Oh, my dude. Do you think this passage is an improvement on Shakespeare? Oh, without a doubt. The quality of mercy is not strained. It falleth like rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. Or how about full fathom five, that father lies, of his bones a coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. That's not as good as, thou fool, no living man may hinder me. That's a hot take, Jonathan, and I agree. Fatty Lumpkin superior to Shadowfax. Oh, Gilmore, yeah, that's one of my absolute favorite movies. My dad introduced Kurosawa's Ran to me when I was a kid. Absolutely a fantastic movie. Ran, I believe, is Japanese for chaos, but it's King Lear, complete with a fool and everything. Sons instead of daughters, obviously, but an absolutely marvelous movie. Recommended to all. And Gilmore Greco, who's the classy guy, of course, is into that movie. And yes, by that I obliquely suggested that I am a classy guy too. Yeah, I can see that. Gilmore saying that movie is an improvement on Shakespeare. I don't know if improvement is a particularly helpful word. But if I were asked a question, is it an improvement on Shakespeare, then I'd say yes. Did you read The Rime of the Ancient Mariner? Asked Marcio on Twitch. Yeah, in high school and college I read it. I had to memorize certain parts, but don't remember them now. But great story. I mean, that's where we have this expression of an albatross around your neck as a weight to be carried. That's still a part of our culture. Who Dat says, have you read the Space Trilogy of C.S. Lewis? Years and years ago. It's hot stuff among all my friends who read it and reread it. I read it and reread it, but as a callow youth. That has Out of the Silent Planet, Perelandra, That Hideous Strength. Yeah. Oh, absolutely classic. It's great stuff. Have you read all three? I know that Hideous Strength has such relevance that a lot of people really latch onto it. I think my favorite is Perelandra. Yeah, Perelandra was an eye-opener for me, says the Cookie Mama. Yeah. I think Perelandra is one of those books that can redefine your cosmology. So it's a lot bigger, in a sense, than the Hideous Strength is, even though both threaten the Hideous Strength is causing. Ooh, I better turn off my notifications. What is that? There we go. Desert Owl, you strive to be a Renaissance man in your life. It's true, I do. Marcio, I had never heard of this book or short story. I ended up getting to know the story in an Iron Maiden song. Nice. There's a famous series of etchings. I think they were actually in a book of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. And there's an early '90s Crash Test Dummies album with the etching as a cover. Udat agrees that Perelandra is the best. Jonathan, I can't get through book 3. Need to try again. Yeah, I had the same exact thing. I think if you try again now, it'll feel a lot more relevant now than if you read it, say, 4 or 5 years ago. And see, I've heard a lot of people make the argument that Gilmore's making now. Well, Gilmore's making a statement, it's all right now, but his opinion is that book 3 is the best book Lewis ever wrote. And a lot of honorable and wise men say the same. I think it's great. I think it is great. But Perelandra, for me, I think is the more... the vaster work. It is more descriptive, I suppose. I mean, it's imaginatively descriptive of how the world is or could have been. And... the vision of the Hideous Strength is a more direct, like future vision. And Gilmore adds, best fiction book, yes. Yeah. Wado Wells, long time no see, dude. Welcome. Howdy, dude. Going on some book talk, yeah. Well, you pull out a pipe, people start talking about books. That's how it is. Oh, brasileiros se sumiram. Comenta aí, vamos conversar, que eu consigo os dois. Se sintam à vontade. Lucas Moreira, caramba. Não some não, man. Faz mais vídeos. Poxa, cara, você não vai acreditar como é que tá a minha vida, mas eu quero fazer mais vídeos. Pra mim, na verdade, é mais fácil fazer live, mas tem até um tema de vídeo que me surgiu hoje, que eu quero fazer pro canal brasileiro. Um tema mais político. Gilmore, I think the gods come down rivals anything in Narnia. The gods come down. What are you referring to? Is that a chapter title? I haven't read the Space Trilogy in a long time, as I mentioned, so maybe you're referring to something in that. Or Till We Have Faces. Mas eu tô aqui, cara. Eu estou aqui, Lucas. Hoje, agora. Então desfrutemos, né? Oh my gosh, Till We Have Faces, says the Cookie Mama. On Twitch. Yeah, that was a book of Lewis's that I did struggle to get through. It's a chapter. Okay, yeah, right. Okay. Widow Wells, I finally finished the Narnia books a couple weeks ago. It only took me 25 years, but well worth it. Hey, you got there, bro. You got there. Now you can read it to the kids. Cookie Mama was probably too young for it. Yeah, probably for me too. David Swander asks on YouTube, have you tried any tobaccos from the Country Squire in Jackson, Mississippi? If so, which do you enjoy? I don't think I have. I mean, I know who they are. Maybe name a couple of their more famous blends, because I might have had it from friends, but I don't think I have. A whole line of Shire-themed tobacco. Yes, but I think I've had the Shire-themed ones from that company in Missouri, not from the Country Squire boys. So this would have been like 10 years ago. There was a line from the company in Missouri. Jonathan Vick, Magician's Nephew, is a sleeper hit for me. Yeah. I had to get older to appreciate The Magician's Nephew. Lucas, cara, descobri seu canal há 2 meses. Você é novato, cara. Conteúdo de qualidade, sou cristão, fumo meu tabaco e gostaria de ver mais vídeos relacionados à teologia. Perfeito, cara. Esse vídeo que eu estou contemplando agora é político, né? Mas claro que vai ser político de uma perspectiva teológica. A teologia é a rainha das filosofias, né? Um grande abraço, cara. Bem-vindo. E fica por aqui no Hangout. Fala aí o que é que tu tá fazendo. Você tá fumando alguma coisa agora? Ou que você anda fumando recentemente? I find myself here without a tamp, so pinky time. Who dat? I would say that The Magician's Nephew is probably the best Narnia book because it still had the joviality, what a great word, of the Narnia series, but still had the somber tone that would make a classic. There's been some work, speaking of the word joviality, who dat, on connecting the planets, the classic, anciently known planets, to the different volumes of the Chronicles of Narnia. And, joviality comes from Jove, which comes from Jupiter. It'd be interesting to look that up. I forget exactly how it went, but people have done work on that. Lucas, Brasil, mano. Difícil encontrar algo bom. Tô fumando uma Finamore. Pois é. Cara, eu no Brasil também fumava Finamore. Quando o meu amigo alemão não me mandava tabacos, cara. Que a verdade é que todo o tempo que passei lá tinha um amigão mesmo na Alemanha. E alguns amigos nos Estados Unidos que me enviavam coisas. E só uma vez que tive que pagar uma taxa de alfândega. Então, eu sei que eu mesmo lá estava privilegiado. Mas eu sei que é um sofrimento conseguir coisa boa. Eu acho que o legal é pegar tabacos puros de mercados centrais e tentar criar a sua própria mistura. Só que aqueles tabacos, eles não vendem burley, né, no mercado central. Por exemplo, os tabacos que chegam aos mercados por causa do uso que o brasileiro que normalmente compra esses tabacos faz, são muito brabos. Gilmore says Wardrobe is the Jupiter one. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Gilmore, do you remember the whole thing? Because it may be interesting. Actually, Hudat is in high school, Gilmore. Gilmore Greco is a college professor, but also teaches a couple high school classes at a classical school in Eugene, Oregon called Gutenberg College, Hudat. And I encourage you to check them out. Lucas, desculpa, já li. Faço das palavras do Lucas as minhas. Pois é, pois é. That's how it be. David Schwander, I enjoyed your sharing the poem, The Barbarians Are Coming. Oh, yeah. I shared it with several friends, and it started some great conversation about what the barbarians are today. Oh, man, that is such fodder for conversation. Yep. That was a video I enjoyed doing. I love hearing, too, what videos resonate with you guys. And so if you guys aren't in the Discord yet, !Discord, if you're on Twitch, join my Discord. If you're on YouTube, well, I guess hop into the Twitch chat or something. Someone can share with you the Discord invite. Or do you guys just message me? I'd love to have you guys be in Discord, and then we can have those conversations. Keenan Adams on YouTube says, wow, I used to watch this big man way back. I'm still here, dude. I'm still alive. So, yeah, where do you know me from? What did you... Was this back in the day when it was exclusively pipe tobacco stuff? Nephew is Venus. Now that actually makes a ton of sense. You think about water and creation and life and green. The creation description in Nephew is absolutely amazing. I'm not a professor, I'm the house dad. Oh, my bad, dude. Okay. Don Treader is Saul. Marcos perguntando se vou voltar para Albuquerque. Não. Eu não tenho raízes lá, cara. Aí o trabalho terminou. Isso aí principalmente por questões de saúde com a minha mulher. Então não, acho que vamos ficar por aqui mesmo, por alguns anos. Mars is Caspian. Yes, absolutely. Makes sense. Bem-vindo aí, Marcos. Don Treader is Saul. Yeah, we did that. So here's Mercury. Okay. Wow, dude, these uncannily make sense. I suppose if I had taken time to think about it, I could have figured out a few of those. Mercury, of course, is Quicksilver. Oh no, Gilmore, what have you done to me? You made me look the fool on screen. Horse and his boy is Mercury. Okay, I'll make that connection. Speed, messages. Man, I made that Quicksilver connection. I felt so proud, Gilmore. Silverchair is Neptune because it's underground. Oh, man. Well, I appreciate all you guys being here. Absolutely love the conversation. Desert says to Masio on Twitch. Came into your Euro Truck stream a few days ago. Oh, nice. Euro Truck is such a fun game to watch. Silverchair is Luna. Uh-oh. We got different authorities on C.S. Lewis getting into it. Last Battle of Saturn. Hey, welcome to the stream, Eric. Are you the Eric Myers I know from FLF? So I remember reading about this Celestial Bodies Narnia books connection, but I don't remember where I read it. Is there a lot of work? Because that's actually what I said on the stream. Right? I said it's a lot of work. A lot of different people, or did Lewis himself say it? Where did you guys get this from, if you remember? Right, the boy is a messenger, not FLF CC. Oh, okay, right on. Sorry. David, do you host live chats on Discord? Is it a feature in Twitch? Discord is a chat and voice talk, but mostly typed chat, closed social media platform. So we have conversations on there, but they're not planned, scheduled chats. They're more like we're just spontaneous conversation. Yeah, it's a constant discussion. That's right, Cookie. Thank you. Wait till Wells, Muckors, Planet Narnia. There you go. Lucas, man, já vi todos os vídeos e deles você fala que apagou o conteúdo do canal. Já colocou novamente ou estou perdendo muita coisa? Não, já coloquei. Acho que você me mandou uma mensagem alguns dias atrás, né? Discord is my favorite time waster, says Othniel. Well, that'll sell it. Não, já voltou tudo. É que eu tirei por causa de um trabalho que eu tinha num determinado ministério. Neptune is not a Ptolemaic planet. Okay. Yeah, it's beyond my knowledge. Othniel, I actually have had some amazing discussions there on. Yeah, man. And probably not just in my server. There are probably a couple more. I mean, one of the best things about it is that it's closed. It's by invite. Discord is probably literally kept me sane this year, says Cookie. And then Gilmore commented all in caps so that it has to be yelled. Planet Narnia! I really should put my glasses on so I can be a little further and still read the chat. Who Dat Gaming popped into the Discord. Glad you're there, my dude. Have fun poking around. A vast and comfortable silence descends. You guys are enjoying my hat. I found it at a thrift store. Select Sires. It's for a stud service. I don't have an agricultural or peculiar bone in my body. But I love wearing a stud service ball cap. Hey, where can we buy a pipe like yours? Marcos. Ó, Marcos, só pra tu saber, aquele KKK em inglês parece muito estranho, porque pro americano o KKK é aquele grupo, né, racista. Mas, cara, esse cachimbo é um bem barato, a madeira não é boa, só pra mim é uma que eu levo pro trabalho e tudo. Eu paguei $20, é um baraço. Paguei $20, é muito leve. Então, se eu deixar cair no chão, ele vai quebrar. Mas tem durado, tem sido um bom fumo. E eu não sei onde comprar um baraço, cara. Eu comprei usado. I'm late to the party, says Wade Wells. How's Moscow? Oh, it's good, man. The weather's fine. People are good. I feel a little socially awkward. Church is great. Work is going well. Gilmore. So Luna makes more sense than Neptune. It's the lack of italics. It's the lack of italics. I must have missed a comment earlier where that would be relevant. Cookie, you may want to make it either 4Ks or KKK like that. Exactly, as Cookie says on Twitch. Yeah. If you're commenting in English, don't put a KKK. KKK, for everyone to know, is the Brazilian online laugh. It's the American LOL. Like the American LOL. Cookie, you may want to make... Yeah. Okay, got it. I'm all caught up now. Hi, little girl.
So Billy and I have to go, and can I keep roller skating up and down?
No, it's getting dark. It's probably about time for you to head in. After you take off your roller skates, though, you should come back and get your bike.
I said...
Mas é isso, gente. Saúde. Só bebendo água mesmo, mas... Almost done with this bowl of pirate cake. So the Empress, says Cookie, is releasing the limits on the churches. He thinks the lady foresees lawsuits. Well, yeah. She's not going to avoid the lawsuits. The Empress, just so everyone knows, in our internal discussions in the John for the Giant community, is the governor of New Mexico.
Hi, Ellie. Are you up?
We're talking about the restrictions that she's put on. David Swander, I just created a Discord account. Can you please send me an invite? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think there might be ways to try to find me on Discord. I'm on my phone right now. But if you go into the Twitch stream, we can post it on there. Otherwise, just send me a message, and later I'll send you one for sure, David. I'm glad the Empress is, loosening up the iron fist a little bit. Cheers, David. Excited to have you in there. Luca, sua live que fala sobre ideologia de gênero, eu achei incrível. Valeu, hein? Cara, eu confesso que não lembro. É um mais velho? Enfim, fico muito feliz que falei coisa boa e edificante. Gilmore, the all caps clarify titles when I can't. I see, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Gilmore, I'm just having fun. I just wanted the opportunity to yell. I didn't think you were actually yelling. Eric, have you read The Princess and the Goblin? Yes. Years ago. I don't think my kids have yet, though. Desert Owl says about New Mexico that things may return to normal some year. Yeah. Gilmore, good night. Good to see you on here. Pleasant surprise. Sleep tight, house dad. So, Eric, what do you think of The Princess and the Goblin? And really, why'd you bring it up? What made it come to mind? We were talking C.S. Lewis, and he obviously had a great appreciation for MacDonald. But was there something beyond that? Read it recently, says Eric. It felt like meeting an old friend for the first time. Wow. Yeah, you know that nostalgic deja vu is the very shallowest level, I think, of the way Lewis describes joy, right? Like, I'm particularly surprised by joy when he talks about that longing for something you've never seen. And the longing itself being joy. Who Dat's got to go too? Yeah. See you tomorrow morning, Who Dat. See you then. Davis Wander, not to spoil the conversation with politics, but do you see states in the U.S. becoming more divided on party lines? Most of our friends are fleeing California where we are. Yeah, they're all coming here, dude. Unfortunately, Idaho prices doubled. I know, dude, I'm here, and I haven't bought a house yet. We got here, and we decided we could kind of afford to make an offer when we arrived. We said, you know what, we'll stabilize our position. Now we can't afford to make an offer. Prices leapt at least 10% for housing in this town in 1 year. Pilgrim, in progress. Blair, welcome to the discussion. I just finished the Ransom trilogy. Lewis's Facebook's very well written. Yep. Oh, we just spent 10 minutes talking about them. We talked about Planet Narnia. We talked about our favorites. We talked about whether we prefer Paralandra or The Hideous Strength. Good stuff. I would love to know from you what your favorite of the space trilogy is. Desert Owl on Twitch says, California invaded New Mexico 30 years ago. They have not left yet. They're not gonna. They're not gonna. Othniel, I've got to lay down the child, so calling it a night. Sweet. Good night. Thanks for being here. Always a pleasure, as you say. Hello, daughter.
Are you done?
No, I'll be here for a little bit. You want to join me?
Oh, no, I just wanted to watch you. Is that okay?
Well, come on my lap for a little bit. You can watch them. Their comments fly. Oh no! Almost the whole thing collapsed.
Getting longer legs.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're not the shorty you used to be.
5'2" or maybe 6. I don't really.
Yeah, she's not sure if she's 5'2" or 5'6". She recently remembered.
Yeah, mom got it like kind of confused, and I forgot which one she determined it was.
The smoke's going right into your face, huh?
Yep.
So Cookie. Crash, yep. Cookie put in the Mara command. There it is. Mara's my youngest. Eric, got our piano tuned this week. Wife is playing the baby to sleep. Wait, okay, got it. Here, I'm going to move you because the smoke is right in your face.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds super, super pleasant, Eric. That's cool that you were able to do that. Pilgrim, I enjoyed the first book the most out of The Silent Planet. I saw Doug Wilson's lecture on them all here on YouTube. Nice. He said he enjoyed The Hideous Strength. Yes. Yeah, and I think most people I know say that, but for me it's Paralandra. Marcos, do my children speak Portuguese? Do you speak Portuguese?
Not really. I kind of quit doing Duolingo on it.
Yep. Não, eles não falam português, infelizmente. A culpa é minha.
Joffrey does it a bit, right?
Yeah, Joffrey can get by. Yep, that's that. All right, I'm going to send you inside, little girl. Good night. But unfortunately not Marcos. David, what are a couple of your favorite tobaccos? Well, I'm not the sort of person to really latch on to favorites. Like it is the same with beer or with whiskey. I kind of go through phases. But yeah, I am smoking a perennial right now in my life, which is Pirate Cake. I like Virginia Periques, and I like Orientals. So, let's see, I like 1792 Flake a lot. I like Marlin Flake a lot. What are some others that I always buy? Exhausted Rooster from Cornell and Diehl. You know, I've recently discovered, this is a bit of a departure for me, but I quite like the C&D Burley Flakes. Eric Myers, my wife agrees with Paralandra. Yeah, so, the earlier discussion, I kind of talked a little bit about how, like, for me, Paralandra is a more cosmological book, and in a sense, it's imaginatively descriptive, right? Describes the world that might have been, made clear a lot more about Lewis's own mythical cosmology of creation as it is. The Hideous Strength is much more, it touches our history a lot more. Where Paralandra touches the beginning and the end. Paralandra touches anthropology itself. How about you, David? What are some of your favorite tobaccos? These are a few of my favorite things. David says on YouTube, I'm a sucker for aromatics. Uh-huh. Yeah, there are like a couple of aromatics I really enjoy. I like the Country Squire blends, Boswell blends. Boswell does a really good job. And so non-aromatics, Boswell's Northwoods is another classic. Marcus, have you heard about what happened with the girl who was approved to university and was not allowed to enroll because she did homeschooling? Marcus, that's the video I'm going to do for the Portuguese channel, and I think maybe for the English channel too. Yeah, so this girl homeschooled in Brazil, highly gifted, got accepted to one of the best universities, which is a state-run university in Brazil, and a justice has denied her the right to attend, even though she qualified in the college entrance examination. She began qualifying 3 years before college. Every year she took the test, and every year she qualified. Clearly academically qualified, but you should hear the story on Global, which is the main news outlet. Oh, just so infuriating, honestly. Yeah, Marcus, I wanna do a video about that. Isaac, your cartoon portrait looks like a young Mr. Whitaker from Adventures in Odyssey. I never did Adventures in Odyssey. I found out about it in high school. Though I homeschooled from 8th grade on, we had come from Brazil. We weren't really part of like the 90s Christian homeschooling culture. We were always kind of on the edge of it. So I think I was 16 when I even learned what Adventures in Odyssey was. But I guess that's cool. Loved listening to this as a kid, and the Focus on Family Radio Theater is fantastic. Nice. Pilgrim in Progress, Blair, I'd love to hear your opinion on Lectio Divina if you could. Is there any place for it in the life of a Reformed believer? Yeah, I think there is. I think that for some strange reason, there are a lot of Reformed people who think that established disciplines are papists. I think, and particularly when they revolve around time, because we don't want to make any times special, right? There are a lot of folks who think that way, but absolutely. But I think there are a lot of tools that could be used, and I think when you do it in community, it's better. So if your church does something in particular, it's good to participate in that. Does that answer your question, Blair? Eric, it's between Paralandra and that hideous strength. What you said about Paralandra being more imaginative. It started slow, but what a finish. Mm-hmm. I haven't sat down and smoked a pipe for quite a bit. Really enjoying this moment. David Swander on YouTube says, Drew Estate had some wonderful blends, but they quit early and went back to cigars only. Tsuge had some nice blends too. I mean, I've had a couple of Tsuge blends, but I've never had them regularly, so I don't really like, they're not locked in my brain. Seattle Pipe Club Seattle Evening is fantastic. That is a good tobacco. I mean, pretty much everything I've had from Seattle Pipe Club I've enjoyed. Pilgrim Blair, yes, thank you kindly. I don't see it anywhere forbidden in Scripture, but you're right. I think it has a papist smell to it. Well, the Latin and all that, but I do think that the Reformed need to be more conscious of time and of how, through Jesus, we are the lords of time. And we ought to incorporate into our lives both the linear and circular aspects of time. So time does have rhythm, and that rhythm should be a part of our lives, but in a way where we can use that to worship God and be closer to God. Brad. Joffrey, a long-time lurker here. Do you believe Jesus is coming soon? And are you a premillennialist? Now, if I have to select, by the way, long-time lurker, thank you for unlurking and saying hey. You are very welcome. I'm glad you've been here for a little bit, and I'm glad you're here now. I don't believe Jesus is coming soon, but I am ready. And I think "Come, Lord Jesus" is a great prayer. But so if I avoid using the millennial labels, not because I don't have a position. I have a position, which I'm about to tell you, but because I think that the millennial labels cede ground that they shouldn't to premillennialists. And from your question, I suspect you may be a premillennialist. So if I had to select one of those, I'm a postmillennialist without a doubt. I prefer to call myself an ecclesiastical optimist. So I believe that Jesus will return. So I actually used to work for a missionary agency that was pre-mill. And they were like, okay, the Bible says that once everyone hears the gospel, Jesus will come back. So we're going to get the Bible out as far as we can to make sure that can happen. Which that's kind of wild. They did good work, and I was glad to work for them. But having said that, I do believe that the gospel covering the earth as the waters cover the deep is part of what history is going to bring before Jesus returns. This broker is killing my English. This broker. Que broker, Marcos? Não entendi, cara. Muito engraçado que eu não entendi esse comentário. Um broker é um agente, né? Um agente financeiro ou de negócios. Dapo's Mill, says Chris, popping out of the woodwork. That Puritan Mill. But I would be really curious, Brad, to hear your reaction to what I've said. Well, this chair can't sustain my weight very well. You guys hear that creaking, I'm sure. All right, I'm going to spend more time leaning back, which means that you guys are going to have to tolerate some... There we go. That went pretty smoothly. The Twitch folks have been silent for a while. Usually the Twitch folks are leading the charge. Brad says, I like that loving perspective to save souls. It's cool, bro. I appreciate you. So you said you've been lurking for a while, Brad. What is it that you appreciate about the channel? How'd you find out about me, etc.? Pilgrim Brer says, I'm a recent convert. Let's see here. I'm a recent convert to the partial preterist position. Yeah, me too. Although even that term, right, concedes the preterists who hijacked. But anyway, one thing I'm so confused about. Why do they not consider his coming in judgment on Jerusalem in 70 AD as his second coming? I think because of the descriptions in the New Testament of what his second coming is like. And, and the day of the Lord and theophanies and God's manifesting himself. I mean, there have been more than 2 or 3, even if you count creation. Well, I think we have to have an end of time with the day of judgment and the day of resurrection coming. And I think, that is appropriately called the second coming because it's of equal weight, you could say, as the incarnation, equal permanence, right? Because Jesus Christ is still incarnate, seated at the right hand of God the Father. Desert, I do not know, nor do... Oh, I think it's an incomplete comment. Cookie, I'm weird. This is Cookie on Twitch. I used to be super pre-mill, but now I'm what's been teasingly called pan-mill. Okay, fair enough. It'll all pan out the way God wants it to. Yeah, I've heard that before. I find that pray for the best and plan for the worst works as well in this situation. Yeah. Yeah, I quite like that attitude, and I find it very healthy. If we don't forget that our theology shapes our lives, and if we have an unoptimistic, untrusting in God's care for his people in the world theology, then that's going to lead to foolish living, to sinful living. And of course, what you're describing is confident, right? You trust in the sovereignty of God. Chris DC, when in question, ask Gary DeMar. Okay. I mean, if you want to ask a celebrity somebody, that's fine. Desert, I do not know when he is going to return. I just know that when that time is, it shall be the most loving moment for it to happen. That's right, Desert. That's a great way of describing it. Chris, have you seen the Plow and Potato interview with DeMar? So Sean Bonet and I interviewed him. More about economics, but yeah, check out the Plow and Potato, Chris. You can look up Plow and Potato on YouTube. Marcos, text broker, broken. Or maybe mistype, entendi. That's the kind of thing I mean, says Cookie. I think talking about Desert's comment, her husband, yep. Pilgrim Blair, I appreciate you, Joffrey. I've been watching you for many, many years now. You're level-headed and well thought through on all things. I appreciate it. Hey, brother, thank you. Yeah, sometimes I think people would appreciate it if I were more polemical, but I don't want to be. I want to be deliberate and harmonious, but still have muscles and be willing to punch people when it's necessary. Oh, Chris watched it. Awesome. Isaac says, although times right now are tough, it is encouraging to read God's word and realize we Christians have been here before and even have faced tougher times. God will always prevail, always. Amen. That's right. It's good to have that sort of perspective. Doesn't make necessarily the times we're living in easier, but I do think it makes it more bearable, if you guys will allow that distinction. Yeah, Cookie says 20 years will do that to you. Speaking of sweet concord with her husband. I'm afraid that I'm the one that has corrupted Cookie in her thinking, says Desert. Ah, okay. So either sweet concord, like I said, or sweet corruption, like Desert said. Either way. Chris DC is also my friend on Bookface. Nice. Such intimacy we have with each other. Man, I appreciate all you guys. This pyre cake is lasting a good while. I'm quite enjoying that. So I didn't really bring out another pipe. I'm going to load this pipe hot, like a heathen might. I think I might do the old jackknife ready rubbed. Ooh, some GLPs. Very nice. Two weeks will be our 20th anniversary. Very nice, Cookie. Congratulations. The Cookie and Owl. That's awesome. 2 weeks and 2 days from now. Very nice. Brad on YouTube says, I've already stumbled upon you, perhaps as a function of geography and YouTube algorithms. I'm in Santa Fe. I appreciate it because of your theological depth. Oh, thanks, man. That's awesome. You seem like a Calvinist, but now I'm not so sure. Aha! That's because of my cagey phrasing. I am most certainly a Calvinist. It may depend also on what your idea of a Calvinist is. In some ways, I'm an Anglicarian. I'm happily Presbyterian, but you know, Anglicarian. If that can make any sense. There's actually an Anglican church in Santa Fe I wanted to visit while we were there, but that didn't happen. I think there are some things about me that the negative side of the Calvinist world doesn't reflect, but most Calvinists are not G.K. Chesterton's profile of Calvinists. Like in Orthodoxy, he talks about what Calvinists are like. That's not most Calvinists. I do think Calvinists and Calvinistic culture is very much open to criticism, but I am proudly Calvinist. I'm a full 10-pointer, as Chris said. So David Swander, thanks for sharing the Christian Heritage series from Canon Press. Yeah, man. I bought a bunch of them, including kids' books for my littles. Hey, actually, do me a favor, Cookie. Can you... oh, you're not... Yeah. It's a great series, and I hope it's not original material. So Thing is my favorite thing of theirs. Might not, comment that about Canon Press. I think it's like Lane 1Q. Where do you get your tobacco? Usually from smokingpipes.com. But I'm still working on this. Mark was asked, do I know Helen G. White? If yes, what do you think about her writings? I do not know Helen G. White, like at all. Maybe give me some context. So is the lag over, guys? The stream back to where it ought to be? The numbers are looking good as I look at the screen right now. I think it's kind of fun that on the screen all the YouTube comments show up in red, but the Twitch ones are different colors. Hey!
Having fun.
Now we are having fun.
One fortnight of months.
A fortnight of months is many nights of months. Man, has it really been 14? That's crazy. Thanks for the subs, guys. I appreciate your support over all this time. Guys, both Cookie and Desert are just integral parts of the Joffrey the Giant community. And my sweet, sweet mods. Thanks again, guys. So, Chris saucily asks how living in Russia has been. Because I live in Moscow, Idaho. It's been good. It's been snowy, and I've been drinking some vodka. If you're asking about any of the sticker stuff or any of the mask ordinances around, I could expand on that too, but it's been good. Being at Christchurch has been great for us. Isaac, I remember, so this is Isaac on YouTube. I remember a number of years ago when you tried starting your own bookstore library. I believe you were in the Carolinas. I did start it. Like 3 years of a bookstore. We opened in 2007. And it was great. Yeah, so you've been around for a long time. So what I tried starting was an online club that connected to the bookstore. To supplement another club connected to the bookstore we had called the Bird and Baby Philosophy Club. And the bookstore did okay. We did have to close down eventually. Kind of wish I'd pushed through a little more, but... And the Bird and Baby Philosophy Club in South Carolina was awesome. So good. But yeah, online it never really took off. 14 months since the driving stream, says Desert. Yeah, those were great. And I may have a few more driving streams coming up this summer. Chris says, heard you got arrested a couple of times. No, friends of mine got arrested. I did post a video of the police telling me to mask, but that was it. Isaac came for the pipe info, stayed for the awesome creator. That's what I like to hear. Pilgrim Blair, I was the second person to run Bearded Gospelman back in the day. Oh, okay, yeah. Years ago now. I think we might have actually exchanged some emails back in the day. Me too, Desert. Although, Desert, oh man. We'll talk off screen. My whole schedule has changed. We'll talk. My original plan got approved and then got unapproved, and now a different plan is approved. Awesome, Desert. Cool. Yeah, are you guys coming up to Southern Idaho at all this summer? So where does everybody live? Like what state or what country? And if it's in Brazil, you can tell me what state. Cool, Cookie. If we get a vehicle, right. So tomorrow is the key day. Okay, Isaac's in Minnesota. Right, finally making your mom's memorial happen. That's crazy. Yeah. Man, as difficult and complicated as that may be, I hope that happens. Pilgrim Blair is 20 miles north of Philly. Oh, okay. So how far from Lancaster are you? Arizona, says Chris. What's going on in Idaho? Fart, laugh, drink? I hope you wrote that on purpose. That is not a typo. No, actually, Cookie and Desert aren't really part of that crowd. We discovered each other. How did we discover each other? Was it random Twitch cruising, guys? I forget how we discovered each other. Anyway, no, Cookie has family in Idaho, but Southern Idaho. Deserts in southeast New Mexico. Chris in Arizona. Ohio for Wado Wells for the past 16 years. David in California. South San Francisco Bay Area. Wow. 50 miles east of Lancaster. Lovely out there. Yeah, for sure. Oh, it's the Albuquerque videos, of course. That's how Desert and Cookie discovered me. Maybe right around there, I decided to start streaming on Twitch. See, I just have such terrible memory. I don't even remember why I decided to start streaming on Twitch. Actually, I think I do. I think it's because of Choco Taco. I knew Twitch existed, but I had never watched any Twitch. And then I discovered Choco Taco on YouTube and went to watch him on Twitch. First time I used Twitch. Barca Studios. Barca or Barca? West Palm Beach. Chris says Bay Area is hella behind enemy lines. Yeah. My wife is from West Palm Beach, Barca. Desert says was one of the first to see your moving to Albuquerque videos. Oh, nice. That's crazy. Chris, if you want to experience communism, go walk through downtown San Francisco. Yeah. I always want to make young communists go live, not even in a communist country, just say in a Latin American country that's been influenced by socialism. Of course, if they did that, they would just blame the Western oppressor for the way things are. And even that expression, you know, I got in an argument with someone, a conservative, who wanted to say that Brazil wasn't part of the West. Like, what's a historical ignorance does it take to think that Latin America is not part of the West? You can talk about variance in cultures. You can talk about how influenced by indigenous culture Peru is, and to some degree Mexico. But come on. Like, Latin America is the West. Anyway, desert. I got to see. I was living in Germany when the wall was still up. Yeah, there you go. Cookie, reading any Solzhenitsyn. It used to be enough. Yep. Settling down in Moscow for a while, Pilgrim Blair, but not for good. Not necessarily a place we want to be old at. We don't have any roots here. Of course, there's really nowhere in the States we necessarily have roots. Isaac, I live in the metro area of the Twin Cities, getting wild here as well, but it's not California. You know that's right. Yeah, I don't think anyone reads Solzhenitsyn anymore. I think that was actually like public school reading maybe in the 80s. I wish there was a state with the laws sort of like Florida. You have the beauty of the Northwest, says Barca. By the way, Idaho has the highest home percent increase in the... I know, dude. Stop telling me this, guys. I'm here now. And suddenly I can't afford a house. We decided to wait a year to stabilize our financial situation. And now we've been priced out of the market. David is very woke lefty out here. I like going places maskless and giving others the courage to do likewise. Yeah. A maskless evangelist. I refuse to mask my children. Good. You mean utopia. Chris, Florida is the new Texas. Texas doesn't even have constitutional carry yet. I love that about Florida. We'll see how long it lasts. Desert, we are just blessed down here that our local government sheriff for God-fearing people. That makes such a big difference. That lesser magistrate can really shield you. New Mexico has open carry in the state constitution. Yes, but not. So I'd be curious to hear you talk about this, Desert, because it must be different than Idaho's setup. Idaho actually has a clause in the Constitution saying that cities cannot prohibit anything that the Idaho Constitution allows when it comes to firearms. So, like, Moscow would love to prohibit open carry. They can't. But Albuquerque did. Chris, dude, we just bought a house last year. It ain't even built yet. We've built like 10% equity on it. Oh, that's great. That's great, dude. Stop making me feel bad, guys. But that's fantastic. Desert, nope, that got tossed out. Good. When was that? Was that recent? Because if it wasn't recent, then a lot of businesses, tried to pull the wool over your eyes. Desert says that got tossed out 8 months or so ago. Good. I'm glad. Pilgrims in Progress, Blair. Bedtime for me. Have a great night. Stay golden. Will stay golden. Have a good night. Sleep tight, my dude. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, so it's 11:30 over there in your neck of the woods. And all the Brazilians are making their way out as well because it's past midnight over there. Barca, wait till the dump. Could be years, then buy with cash. Yeah. That's wise. Barca, what does Barca Studios do? Side hobby for fan vids. Nice. Cool. Right on. I'll have to check it out. You guys hear the frogs? No, I meant Barca Studios itself, like this, what you call Barca Studios. But you are a locksmith. That's good to learn. Well, probably a lot of work in Palm Beach. I mean, that county has like 3 million people in it. Isaac says, man, it's not timing the time, but rather timing the market, but to each their own. You guys are going to start an argument over here. Desert businesses could if they sell alcohol, or banks or financial institutions. Others put the sign up but cannot enforce it. Aha. Timing the market. Yeah, that would make more sense. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Desert. I actually don't carry often. So there you go. All my enemies who are watching it, I don't often carry. But nobody should be able to tell me whether I can carry or not. Nobody. Man, pretty dark out here. A lot of people have gone to bed early, or they have really good drapes. I love the sound of frogs. Flamethrower, it says the Salt Lakers. Hey, Salt Lakers, welcome. Are illegal in all states, but they won't let me in Walmart with it. As long as you can walk down the street with it, Salt Lakers. Yeah, right, Chris. Don't need to carry Moscow. It's an ex-Gen city. Isaac just bought a handgun in this due to the government-led bonfires in the Twin Cities last year. Yeah, it's good to have a weapon. In which case, you got to protect the fam. Desert, I do not carry any longer. I only used it once. That was for a rattlesnake in a sandstorm. For some reason, the sandstorm just takes it to the next level. I only used it once. It was for a rattlesnake. Fine. Only used it once. It was for a rattlesnake in a sandstorm. Whoa! Chris, multiple LOLs. I get triggered when someone says ex-Gen. Hey, you wrote it, dude. Yeah, sorry, Christian. Barca, how many different states have you lived in, and what is your favorite all-around? I've lived in Idaho, California, South Carolina, Massachusetts, Florida. That's it. I really like Florida a lot. Even though many don't. I'm a fan of Florida. Even though I understand Orlando sucks, I'm a fan of Florida. I'm a fan of the Panhandle. I'm a fan of the West Coast. I'm a fan of Cuban South Florida. I'm a fan of Northeast Florida. How many hurricane seasons? Well, I don't live in Florida anymore. Just because if it was not for the sandstorm, I would have been able to avoid the snake. Oh, yes, I see. I think it was the '05 hurricane season where 5 hurricanes hit the state, major ones. and 3 hit us. Yeah, I mean, Florida might be my favorite one to live in. I lived in North Florida. Florida has a lot that's super great about it and a lot that sucks about it. But the a lot that's super great, definitely outweighs it. Um, you know, some places are just less placey. No, humidity doesn't bother me at all. I'd rather have humid heat than dry heat. I really quite enjoyed. Oh, I've lived in New Mexico. I'm not sure if I put that in there because I was about to say I really quite enjoyed Albuquerque, but it was another one of those places with a lot of bad and a lot of good, and it wasn't quite as like the bad might have outweighed the good, but there was so much to enjoy about New Mexico. Salt Lake, it's got to be nice. You can shrug off 3 hurricanes in a season. Yeah, we were without power for a month that year, and it was over 2 weeks for one of them because they were dealing with major projects trying to restore power. There was power all around us, but our transformer had blown, so it just took the crews a long time to get to us because we were so low priority. So our complex had no power, but for blocks around us, everyone was good. Barca, it's more like the Wild West than the Wild West here. Yeah, it's a very dynamic place for sure. New Mexico is gangland, says Chris. Something to that. Cookie Mama on Twitch. I honestly think you might have liked Eastern New Mexico better, but that might be my bias talking. Maybe. I do like larger towns and cities. I wish you had gotten down to this part of the state. Yeah, me too. David, what resource would you recommend for Calvinism? I have a hard time with the idea that God would make people he predestined to eternal damnation when he sent Jesus for the sin of all mankind. Well, first of all, that already shows, like, if that's what you think Calvinism is, you should study Calvinism. You have a problem with the idea of predestination. But, I'm going to recommend a vast resource to you, a huge resource. Actually, 2 of them. The proper order to do it is not the one I'm going to suggest to you, but I would actually just read Calvin's Institutes, dude. I say just read. It's 2 really massive volumes in most editions. And you can get it from Canon Press for pretty cheap. A paperback. Yeah, read Calvin's Institutes. Get a fulsome idea of what Calvinism actually is. The ecclesiological, sense of Calvinism. The cultural sense of it. Get some context for that predestination stuff. And then I would recommend, this is not Calvinism or a Calvinist, but I would recommend Augustine's The City of God. I wouldn't actually study predestination. I would study those 2 things. And Calvin talks at length about predestination. And actually Augustine has a classic sermon on predestination. But I would study those things. Chris recommends What is Reformed Theology by R.C. Sproul. Barca says, I actually found you from your Just Moved to Albuquerque video. Good video. Oh, thanks, man. So do you have a connection to Albuquerque? Poor New Mexico, says Isaac. Might be a while before they shake the Breaking Bad series. Well, it's not for nothing that it was made there. I know what I speak of in regards to living in Minnesota, and we're referring to the movie Fargo. Right, yeah, exactly. You're right, Isaac. But there's a connection. Chris, John, if you forget, we have a movie now. Wait a second. You're in Arizona, right? What movie? What? How did I get lost? I got lost. Oh, wait, Calvinists have a movie now. Yeah, I heard about that project. Cheers, David. I hope that's helpful. I mean, I know, you didn't want me to recommend an encyclopedia. So, maybe go with Sproul or Packer. But, yeah, I mean, you'll take so much profit from Calvin Institutes. And you can go right to the source, right? Because just like anything else that's old, some people have done some pretty weird things and gone off and used those labels. So, I am not continental Reformed, and certainly not Dutch Reformed. As much as I love Kuyper, I'm very definitely not Dutch Reformed. And I have reasons for that. So, like, what is Calvinism is itself a conversation. So I'd say read John Calvin. Yeah, the movie Calvinist, right? I haven't seen it. Is it out already? I remember when they were raising funds for it. Desert Isle, Breaking Bad is New Mexico. That may as well be the story of the education system in ABQ. There you go. Yeah, it fits. Barca, I think that duality and Christianity are more closely tied than Westerners would like to believe. What do you mean by duality? Do you mean some great Manichaean or Zoroastrian thing? Do you mean dual forces? What do you mean by duality? Chris, super good for those that don't know anything about Calvinism. Yeah, it's also good to point out not all Calvinists are Reformed. That's a whole other argument I could get into. Mifuki, reporting in from Ontario. What up, dude? You've missed all the good talk. Hoping my shoes and clothes last this current lockdown because we're not allowed to buy them from stores. Oi. Oh, man. Well, the Canadians who were here before have left. I'm glad you're here to represent. We'll smuggle you some clothes across the border, dude. Desert, they are adding more days to the school year to see if they can get the test scores. Oh, up, dude. That's crazy. Mifuki, how are you doing, my dude? We're talking Calvinism right now, huh? How about that? Chris says Driscoll was a Calvinist, definitely didn't affirm a Reformed confession. Yeah. I would actually say that people like that are not Calvinists, but I know I kind of stand alone. I would even say that Reformed Baptists are not Calvinists. And it's not a knock against Reformed Baptists, but it's that thing where we're talking about earlier. It's this narrow view of Calvinism where it's all about soteriology. And I don't know, if you would never, like, if you subscribe to a perspective from a philosopher, say, and he had one idea that you bought that idea, but not necessarily his system of thought and his cosmology, you would not say, right? So if I said one thing and you're like, okay, now I'm a Joffreyan, you wouldn't really be a Joffreyan, right? You'd have to buy into the Joffreyan cosmology and system of thought. So I don't like that people use the word Calvinist that way. Barca, I believe nothing can exist but God himself without an opposite. Perhaps Lucifer became his opposite in an attempt in ultimate insult, to belittle him to his own creation. So, actually, I recommend that you read, just for fun, Silmarillion's first chapter, the creation story. Absolutely fantastic. So, for me, if nothing can exist but God himself without an opposite, like, there's consistency in a dualistic worldview as long as it's not personal. A personal God has to either be sovereign or not God. A dualistic perspective or a cosmology only makes sense in if the highest thing is a force, right? Not an actual personal being. Isaac, yikes! Staring face. Oh, this is a hot take apparently. Canada seems to just veer off a cliff out of nowhere. Perhaps I wasn't paying close enough attention over the years. Are you referring to Mifuki being naked now? Chris, do Reformed Baptists not uphold the 5 points of Calvinism? See, that's the thing. 5 points of Calvinism. Those were written almost 200 years after Calvin by some Dutch dudes. That's not Calvinism. Oh, snap. Let the fires be ignited. Light the watchtowers. Battle is coming. So it's not that they don't affirm the 5 points of Calvinism. That's fine. Now, how you can be a Calvinist and not be, say, a covenantalist. How you can be a Calvinist and use grape juice for communion and have that sort of sacramentology. That, to me, that's not Calvinist. I'm not saying it's not Christian, but it's not Calvinist. Chris sees what I mean. Whew. Let the spirit of concord reign. And apologies for using a Lutheran word like concord. Wait, I'm not reformed, but I got a copy of Institutes burning a hole in my shelf. I've been meaning, dude, even if you don't become reformed through reading it, you will benefit from such a masterful and complete opus. Cookie Mama shares an icon of a microphone and a triangle. Is that Concord? Is that peace? What is that? I don't understand your emoji language, Cookie. I'm sorry. Mic drop. Oh, it's obvious now. Dang nabbit. I'm not worthy of you, Cookie. Oh, man. Barca. Did you smoke a pipe from the start, or did you use tobacco differently before and move over? No, I never smoked until I smoked a pipe. And actually here in this town, so I went to college for a brief while in Moscow, Idaho. And I was a little older, so I was in my early 20s, and the other kids were like 18, 19. Someone smoked pipes, so I started smoking a pipe. Didn't really get into it until I opened my bookstore, and then I kind of started smoking most days. Chris says, I'm too dumb for the Institutes or anything Owen wrote. What do you think of that, bro? The guy next to me, he just got home, he's a seminary student. Sorry. Good night.
You're good. No, he's not. Or she, whoever that is.
You don't think Chris is too dumb? You don't know him. He might be too dumb.
He said for the Institutes?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I'm telling them to read Calvin's Institutes.
Yeah, page at a time.
Yeah, page at a time, bro.
That's right.
David says, when boys become men, they smoke a pipe. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. Owen is a little dense for me, Chris, to take your comment seriously this time. Owen is dense and I think often charmless. But Calvin, and of course I haven't read Calvin in French or Latin, but the translations are good, and Calvin's lively. Desert, none of us are worthy of the glory that is the Cookie Mama. Uh-huh. Cookie says, hi, neighbor Josh. Yeah, we need to give him a command as he pops in every once in a while. We're not going to be neighbors too much longer, though. Chris says, dropped out of high school my senior year. Trust me, it ain't happening. Okay, bro. Maybe I'll record an audiobook for you. Invixos, yep. Long time no see. What is up? Invixos over on Twitch. Good to see you popping in. And Clout Mouse as well. Hello, hello. Isaac, I've seen you with a cigar from time to time. Yeah, for sure. Well, I started with a pipe. Am I reading Spanish literature today? No, today I'm just smoking and chatting. That is it. Yeah, Chris, I mean, we moved into an apartment here. It's not great for a family of 7. We're always planning on kind of going into a house, but we're hoping to buy a house. Instead, we're going to be renting a house. Isaac says, I'm too lazy for a pipe. Cigars are easier, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And if you smoke a pipe enough, it becomes as easy as lighting a cigar. But you do need some practice for that to happen. Like growing a beard. Got to have the patience to get past the itchy stage. And I get it when people don't want to deal with that. So I'm smoking Jackknife plug. the ready rubbed form. You can hear it in there, it's loose. Desert, neck beard or no neck beard? Well, if neck beard is your only option, no, but a little something going here. So I used to have a really big beard, big and thick. The neck beard really gives it a lot of body if you let that go with it. Chris is ordering some cigars right now, actually, for a vacation in 2 weeks. Oh, dude, where are you going? Man, I hope it's awesome. What website do you use for cigars, if I may ask, Chris? Yerp, you have seen mine, says Desert. Well, I didn't quite classify it. Yeah. I've seen yours. So mine was a little cleaner. If you look up competitive bearding, by cleaner I mean more like you let yours grow. Mine was actually controlled and shaped. So there are categories for what you compete in competitive bearding. And I competed in Verdi Garibaldi, waxed mustache shaped beard. So there's no requirement for the length of the beard, but it did have to be shaped. So I had it kind of like curved like that. Isaac goes to Cigars Daily, and Chris to Atlantic Cigars. Going to California to visit the in-laws. Okay, we're in California. Wade Wells. I just wanted to point out that I found your channel when I was 16 by looking at pipe smoking videos. I'll be 25 in May. Yeah, I've been around for a little while, eh? We've been Facebook friends since that time. It's kind of amazing. Wade says, you helped me to become the pipe smoker I am today. So in part, I've helped you become the man you are today. That's awesome. Desert says, Mountain Man all wild. Yeah, that's right. I've seen it. Bonus points, some small animal can live in it. Yeah. Some little baby kittens nestled in my big bushy beard once. 3 baby kittens. Kimberly filmed it. I think I've deleted it since, but that was a very adorable moment. Brad, John 6:37. All the Father gives me will come to me, and whoever comes to me I will never cast out. Predestination and free will wrapped into one verse. That's right. I think that the key to coming to terms with the gut punch that is not being in control of your destiny is embracing the paradox, and a paradox is not a contradiction. Chesterton does a great job of explaining that in Orthodoxy. God says he is completely sovereign and in charge. God says we have our own will and are accountable. Deal with that. Chris, San Bernardino is where he's going, right at the border of Soviet Los Angeles. Yeah, have fun. Got to go see the in-laws, though. Got to take the kids to go see Grandma and Grandpa. You know, ever since moving to the West Coast, talking to them, the Brazilians in my community has gotten so much harder. It's a super bummer. Nobody! What is up? And nobody on YouTube, not on Twitch. What is happening? My world is shaken. Good to see you, nobody. We were just mentioning the driving streams. So Isaac says, if God is all-knowing, although he will, pardon, although he will allow you to make your own choices, ultimately he already knows what you will choose. Yeah, I don't. That all of that's true, but the already part is not an integral part of. Like, it's not. We don't want to make God's sovereignty is not an expression of the fact that He knows what's going to happen. It's more than that. He's in control of what's going to happen. What He wills happens, which is where the problem of evil comes in. Nobody. Long time no see. LOL. Yeah, dude. Hope all is well with you and the gang. Yes, absolutely. We are trucking along. Both the gang in the sense of being my family and the gang in the sense of the Joffrey the Giant community, for sure. Good to see you, dude. What are you up to tonight, nobody? You're East Coast, right, nobody? Is that right? One of my favorite things my kids liked about the stream when nobody started hanging out was how I would talk to nobody. Or say something like, nobody says blah blah. Chris, why does the... Oh, Alberta. My bad, dude. Okay, yeah. Why does the dog choose the bowl of meat versus the bowl of veggies? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you talking about nature? "50% tax on capital gains," says Barca. So you're just throwing chum into the water, Barca? Is that hey, let's start something. 50% tax on capital gains. Go. Talk amongst yourselves. Chris, yes, nature, right. So Isaac says no. I think Barca's hoping for more than that, Isaac. I mean, I think most people on the stream are going to say no. I think Barca knows that. Somebody give him some churn. Chris says, I think Sleepy Joe gave us 46%, and they ain't liking that. Well, who's they, Chris? Bar said it's a proposition. Is it, okay, you mean it's a serious proposition? Has anyone heard? Man, there's so many things that Biden is throwing out there, proposing. Isaac, I'm the one taking the risk with my assets to let them grow and potentially fall in value, so why should I pay a tax? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're preaching to the choir, dude. Desert, capital gains is taxing money that's already been taxed, like charging tax on interest in your saving account. Yeah, exactly. Or like, dare I say it, property tax. I think the only liquor I have in the house is vodka. I'm going to pour myself a wee dram of vodka. Or as the Russians would say, a wee dram. Mifuki, whoa. Mifuki out of the woodwork. Okay, chum. Okay. He's not calling us chums. He's being part of the shark chum. What about last week when on Chris show he is calling us chum? Hey, David. Thanks for following on Twitch, dude. Okay, burst of comments right as I was about to stand up. What about last week when on Christian Twitter people were pushing hard against theonomy? Ooh, let's talk about that. I would hope you are all somewhat in the direction of libertarian. I think most of us are, but we'll see. I'm definitely not a libertarian, but in the direction of libertarian accurately describes me. Isaac, HSA baby, triple tax free. Okay, let's talk about the pushing hard against theonomy thing when I come back. Kids are inside watching Cars. I love to hear the sounds of the night. Were you hearing the frogs, or were you hearing the video the kids were playing? Chris, property taxation is God's judgment upon a whore abortion nation. Abolish government education. Amen, Chris. Yeah, the frogs are, yeah, they sound cool. Joshua, did you hear me yell whore abortion nation?
No.
Oh, okay. You came out right as I was reading a comment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I said whore abortion nation. Yes, anywho. All right, theonomy. So Mifuki observing that people were pushing hard against theonomy on Twitter. I wasn't privy to that. I've actually deleted my Twitter. So what was the pushback, Mifuki? Like what were the objections? What was the rage? Chris is ready. He's got his arguments holstered and his hand on the gun. He's ready. I mean, so, earlier I said that I don't describe myself as a post-millennialist, although if we use the millennial paradigm, that's what I would be, because I don't want to frame things, conceding anything to the millennialists. It legitimizes a view that I find quite illegitimate. Nobody, I've not had a Twitter or Facebook. Hey, that's great. So if we could start with an article posted by TGC. Oh, well, let me guess. Well, I mean, TGC had, in the beginning, there was a lot of good stuff they were doing. So I could see it being pro. But I assume the article was about how bad theonomy is, and then people started going back and forth. Chris says TGC is great. Yeah, TGC has kind of gotten really wobbly for me lately. All right, let's get that next bowl going. I think this time it's going to be back down south.
Thank you, Tim.
Mifuki, yeah, about how dangerous it is, and tying it with Christian nationalism, right? Yeah. When Chris says TGC is great, he means terrible. I couldn't tell if you were being sarcastic because your emoji was just a vanilla smiley face. What am I supposed to do with the smiley face, Chris? I mean, really. Yeah, so I actually have problems with a lot of how Christian nationalism is framed. Not because it's Christian, and not even because it's nationalist. But because it's, with most people I talk to, it's so dang American. And none of the proponents for this would say this, right? So I'd have an argument on my hands. But it's more American than it is Christian. I went to Bible college at Barca when I was younger. It was not for me, though. Why'd you do that, Barca? What was you mean like when you were college age? So, what was I? Oh, right. So obviously Christian nationalists are going to tend to be theonomists. But that's not a commentary on theonomy. It's just an obvious outcome of being a Christian nationalist. So now I am smoking back down south from Briarworks. David on Twitch, David Swander. What is your drink of choice for the evening? It's a cheap vodka. It's the only liquor I had left. I have, so we've been hanging out long enough. I think I should have a drink with these guys. I'd rather have scotch. I didn't want to pop open any of the wine. Terrible meaning irrelevant for TGC. Yeah, I mean they're not irrelevant because they're latching onto that woke audience. That smoke command is staying hot and up to date tonight. Barca, I went to try and prove to myself that God was real. You proved otherwise, or just couldn't prove it to your satisfaction? Why did you want God to be real anyway? Yeah, Mifuki, okay, quote, there are serious criticisms of the movement. Criticisms so severe that theonomy should be repudiated as an evangelical framework for... ... While we wait for the rest from Mifuki. Understanding the mission of the church and the relation between civil and sacred, eternal authority and spiritual authority. Okay. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's hear what those arguments are. I do love how he frames it. The criticisms are so severe that this view should be repudiated. How about the criticisms are right? Right? These criticisms reveal things that are so horrific or whatever. I don't care about how severely you feel about something. If your criticisms are shocking, I don't care. I care if they're true or not. Anywho. So Wade Well says, I just bought a bottle of Oban Little Bay. Exquisite. Oh, very nice. I'm having a little trouble keeping up with the comments, guys. Let's see here. Everyone hates theonomy till their house gets robbed. I guess it's true of a lot of things. Barth says, faith-based. If he is not real, then we are nothing but aimless bags of chemistry. So you didn't want that to be true, yeah. So in sum, quotes Mifuki, the error of theonomy is that its hermeneutic stretches beyond the Bible's understanding of its own authority. From this mistaken hermeneutic come serious distortions with drastic consequence for the church's role in fallen political orders. Okay, well, I assume the article that explained how the hermeneutic was mistaken, and what the distortions were. And, it depends on how you define theonomy, but one thing I'll tell you is I have little patience for a theology that absolves us from any responsibility to bless and steward the world. It all started with premillennialism, guys. David on Twitch asks, have you tried Nika coffee grain whiskey? I have not. Never even heard of it. Tell me more, sir. I've read a lot of TGC articles that never make any of their arguments concrete. So I sure hope that everything Mifuki is sharing was just preliminary and were not the arguments themselves. But actually, the topic was going to be, Mifuki, the pushback on Twitter. I'd be curious to hear about the discussion on Twitter and why you found that interesting. And just so you know, Mifuki, I'm not sharing this article on the screen or anything because I am on my cellular telephone for this stream. Man, I said I'm having a little trouble keeping up with the comments, and everyone stopped. Sorry, guys, I'll do better. It's because I'm using the, so I can see both the YouTube and Twitch comments. I'm using just my cell screen, and it's just small. Yeah, Mifuki is in the Discord. You should do that, Mifuki. Share the article. Oh, I'll get into the pushback. I'll look for the pushback, but one more quote. Okay, hit me. This is where the substance of this guy's argument is going to come in, I'm sure. David says, Nika is a Japanese distillery. Coffee is the type of still they use to make it. Oh, okay, mid-priced and remarkable. Nice. I've enjoyed the Japanese whiskeys I've had. I've had some Suntory whiskeys. And actually, I do have my laptop out here with me so I could glance at the article. I'm at Nika. All right, so this popped into Discord. Let's take a look. American Culture is Broken. It's Theonomy, the Answer by Andrew Walker. Where did I know that name from? Light up, says Chris, a cigar. I'd light up a cigar if I wasn't working right now. I guess I'll smoke on your behalf. When does your shift end, Chris? March 31st, 2021. I wonder if I saw this before. And I think there's been a little bit of buildup on TGC on this topic, I think. Have you noticed this vision of Christianity in the public square that seems muscular, confident, and even brashly triumphalist? I read this and dismissed it. Shift ends in 2 hours. Nice. It is tired of Christianity's never-ending losses in the culture wars. It rightly criticizes the decadence, perversion, and irrational norms of secularism and understands that under the guise of neutrality, secularism has become the functional god of this age. Which is not a statement that necessarily condemns neutrality. Chris, finished a 6-hour meeting before I started watching the stream. My brain is fried. Oh, man. Yeah, that's brutal. This vision may seem new if you're younger than 40, but it is not. What we're seeing is the rebirth of Christian Reconstruction. No, that's true. Or its more applied form, theonomy. Okay, so he talks about what Christian Reconstruction and theonomy are, which I think is this description is a little limited, kind of Rushdunian, but whatever. I mean, there's no connection of, like, when people criticize theonomy, no one ever talks about Kuyper or Calvin, It's always like, Rushdunian in the 1980s. Okay, I figured you might have, but I'd love to get your commentary on it. Yeah. Oh, sweet. Yeah. That's good about it. So I think this is where the meat's going to be. Theonomy is not the solution. There are serious criticisms of the movement. Criticism is so severe. Right, we read this from Mifuki. So the criticisms are so severe that theonomy should be repudiated. Well, what are the criticisms, okay? Let us judge the severity of them. And then the immediate next paragraph starts with, in sum. That's okay. Whatever. It's like he's acting like he's already made his argument. The error of theonomy is that its hermeneutic stretches beyond the Bible's understanding. Okay, how does it do that? It is facile. It channels an eschatology of triumph. It is historically undesirable, but he makes no argument for that. It instrumentalizes religion. Okay, that's nothing wrong with that. Blurs church-state relationships. Okay, that sounds natural. And jeopardizes religious dissent. That may be a valid criticism. But how? Tell us. It proves unnecessary because of how other covenants showcase the benefits of common grace and natural law. And there's be a bit of a misunderstanding of natural law in here as well. Chris has all the post-mill hashtags. How was the DDoS attack, DDoS attack, and network-related issues? Yeah, that's going to take up your time. All right, rather than become mired in interpretive problems amply demonstrated by many conservative scholars elsewhere, the simplest observation to make about theonomy, so he's basically saying this is not going to be a serious article. Click on this link if you want to read one. The simplest observation to make about theonomy as a hermeneutic is that it misunderstands the relationship between the Old Covenant and the New Covenant. Right? It all starts with pre-mill, which is what I said before I read the article, which leads to misapplications today. Isaac, I've heard how camels came to be. They were created by a committee that were tasked to design a horse. Okay, you need to tell more of that story, Isaac. It correctly stresses a continuity in the original moral force behind Israel's civil law. It overlooks, however, the covenantal discontinuity in applying and enforcing the particulars of Israel's civil law, especially since theocratic Israel's expiration. There's actually something to this. So I don't describe myself as a theonomist because, I agree with the principles of Christian nationalism, but I don't describe myself as a Christian nationalist because there are vanishingly few wise, historically informed, and prudent Christian nationalists. Okay. and don't trust in what would happen if Christians ruled the land and had a sense of responsibility to rule it biblically. Where do I get my weed? Asked Barsa. From smokingpipes.com. Especially since theocratic Israel's exploration, God's purpose with Israel were unique in design compared to his relationship with other nations. The laws God laid down with Israel were meant to enforce and protect the exclusivity of that relationship. Yeah. See, that is a vast overstatement. Israel thus played a singular role that other nations aren't called to replicate down to the level of their judicial laws. So basically what he's writing off Israel's judicial laws. He's saying they're not a model for how laws ought to be. He's saying because of their priestly role as a people, there was a lot about them that was special. So civil law and shellfish and pork eating, it's all in the same category. Isaac, in reference to the 6-hour meeting, I have a career where many meetings and committees take place, and at times seems like they're taking place just to take place. Oh man, yeah. Yeah. If your job gets taken up by conversation, then you don't have to do your job. So how many people did I butt hurt with my thing about Christian nationalists? Who's feeling butt hurt? Who would like to hurt my butt? The eternal law, evident in the natural law, comes to be expressed in divine law. While the Decalogue is, I believe, a timeless representation of natural law, its contents existed before they were formally codified. Theonomy gets hung up on the form and practice of the commandments. That was what I had said earlier. It places the onus of the law in a particular time and place rather than the law's moral substance, which predates Israel. But see, that is not a just accusation against theonomists. Other problems relate to theological posture. This is probably going to be kind of a little bit like my angle. Martin Luther expounded on the difference between a theology of glory and a theology of the cross. The former is the theology of enthronement and triumph, the latter theology of suffering and loss. Theonomy is fundamentally a theology of glory. Great! Cool! Who wants to hurt my butt has just been added. Dang nabbit. Excellent, Cookie. I also wouldn't call myself a theonomist as Mifuki, but I just don't see how you can so offhandedly dismiss penal loss. Right, yeah. So, if a theonomist is agreeing that laws ought to be based on biblical principles and not use principles as an excuse, right? And if you're willing to say that, yes, stoning an adulterer is just, maybe we're not going to require the stoning of an adulterer, but stoning an adulterer is just. If that makes one a theonomist, then fine. But for laws to be just, they must be biblical. A Christian's posture toward the world must simultaneously embrace both glory and the cross. Yeah, great. This paradox is understandably complex, but it gives the proper perspective. It's debatable whether theonomy desires a formal unity of church and state. Doubtless, though, church and state work in unison to promote each other's interests. That's true. What's the problem with that? Though medieval Europe was not strictly theonomic, the first thing to learn about strong unity between church and state is how undesirable it is. That's not true. It's like he's not even familiar with any Protestant history. I mean, he just said that without any argument. I'm scrolling down through the rest, and there's just no argument. Again, theonomy insists on applying the Old Testament's penal code to today, but a better use of the biblical storyline. See, storyline, I'm all about story, but he's using storyline here to get up above the mud. He doesn't want to get stuck. But better use of the biblical storyline grasps that modern nation states are to pursue a just order and prudentially wise criminal sanctions. Okay, great. You mean like biblical ones? Which is why, for example, it's fine to imprison for offenses that Scripture prohibits without executing the offenders. The reason it's fine, because I agree that, let's use controversial language. We're in a dispensation of grace. Everything that was, things were unclean and now they are clean. I do think that we, as lords of the earth, through Jesus Christ, can take the principles of God's law, like adulterers must die, which, by the way, the law is full of ways to show mercy to sinners throughout. If this is the situation, if that's the situation, all this mercy. But even beyond that, I think now, before, if you touch something unclean, before Jesus Christ, if you touch something unclean, you became unclean, right? But now, that which is unclean gets touched by the clean and becomes clean. So, showing grace and showing mercy is absolutely fantastic, and it's great. And we have, we ought to judge that way, and we're not in violation of God's law if, as a judge, you say this adulterer need not die, or even, I think, if as a government we say we don't need to kill all adulterers. Adultery is a crime. Adultery is worthy of death, but we're not going to punish all adulterers with death. So in that case, I think a lot of traditional theonomists would absolutely disagree with me. But we don't use the principles or the storyline of God's law to escape the responsibility of it. Rather, we assume the responsibility of saying to God, yes, we showed mercy here. And trusting that is what we've attained, that we're living up to that. Chris is all about that continuity. I feel like, says Mufugi, the article conflates theonomy and sacralism. Yeah. I think that's probably fair. I mean, and I don't even think that this guy is talking like he's a proponent of natural law. I don't think he's a proponent of natural law. I think he's a proponent of radical covenantal separation, of radical dispensationalism, but he doesn't want to be lumped in with that crude crowd. So he's going to hide behind natural law. He's going to make natural law, he's going to hide behind Aquinas, but it's not Aquinas. So then what was the kerfuffle, Mufuki? What kerfuffling ensued? I agree with Mufuki. Based on what I've read, the only crime that had no penalty but death is premeditated murder. Right. Right, exactly. And you do find a lot of the cruder theonomists going around saying that the law of the land ought to be the harshest penalty for everything, because that's what God said. And there's no understanding the provisions for mercy. People often, they see the provisions for mercy as like more technicalities or more laws, instead of seeing that they're actually fleshing out the principles of the stricter penalties. What are my thoughts on natural law? They're undeveloped. So my closest work colleague is a big natural law proponent. So I guess my take is that there's a lot of good to the natural law approach. And there's a lot that fuels the desire to make natural law make sense is this idea, right, like C.S. Lewis had, that we all understand, like Romans 1, we all understand that there's a certain Tao, right? That there's a certain universal truth, and everyone knows or should know that murder is wrong. And we can communicate with each other based on that. And we can say, look, our God is true, is just, is good. And you can see that because you know what good and evil are. Well, I think natural law is real. Like, if that's what natural law is, that is real. But that's not necessarily the effect that it has. People are wicked, desperately wicked. And when we talk about codifying law, we ought to prioritize Scripture over our ideas of natural law. But someone, yeah, got that. Yeah, okay, sorry, I am all caught up. Yeah. We know good and evil because we all know God. That's right, we have to make it personal. Chris, I think that's always key. And when Lewis talks about that, I mean, he makes it personal. You know, good natural law theologians do as well. Yoshi's finding Mifuki over on YouTube. That's so funny. What's up, Yoshi? Yeah. So yeah, good natural law proponents, they do make it personal. They make it about the triune God, right? The God we know. But when you approach things through Scripture, which of course a natural law person would say they do that, right? And so I'm being unfair just to be quick. When you approach the Scripture first, then you know that you're dealing with the triune God of Scripture. The tendency with a lot of natural law people is to approach Scripture through natural law instead of the other way around, right? They want to use natural law as a paradigm by which to view the world and human nature. And Scripture ought to do that. You can have a developed theology of natural law, but it has to be under desert. Natural law is kill or be killed tooth and fang, and supernatural law you're referring to. Well, that's how you're defining a desert. But when theologians talk about natural law, they're often referring to what all human beings understand of good and evil. So right, so it starts tending into Pelagianism, right? In my opinion, it's more secular natural law. Yeah, well, this conversation started talking about laws that are on the books. Like, we started talking about theonomy, right? So what are our laws about murder or about theft or whatever? I'm more on the Ventilian side of this, says Chris. I'd say I am as well. How would you describe the Ventilian side, Chris? Jaden, what is up? How are you? A little post-midnight visit to the stream. I love that, Jaden. Hope things are well for you in Virginia. So yeah, Chris, tell me, like in a sentence or two, how would you be more Ventilian about this? So I bought this vodka to make Caipiroscas, like a lime sugar vodka cocktail. Hey, gifting a sub, Mifuki, thank you. To our boy, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm getting there, are coming in at weird things, maybe because of the YouTube thing. So who got the sub? Is it Yoshi saying wow? Oh, it's 5 subs. See, that's never happened to me. I can't even handle it. Nice. So when I stream to YouTube and Twitch, all my notifications go back to the zombies. It's a super bummer. I would have liked to have Andre the Giant expressing his gratitude Thank you very much, Mifuki. Huzzah! All around. That is awesome. So I can't tell from my screen who got the subs, but Cookie, if you can let me know, that'd be absolutely great. That's very cool. Thank you for the support. So for those of you on YouTube who are wondering what's happening, there are paid subscriptions on Twitch, and Mifuki just gave a bunch. Wait a minute, what? Just says something. Wait, okay. Yep, so many comments. Chris says, I don't know, I've only read Ventil's favorite student. I'm too dumb for Ventil. You keep saying you're too dumb, dude. I don't think you are. All right, when I studied theology, Desert says that was not what natural law was. The terms you maybe. Yeah, okay. Maybe we should talk about that then. Maybe I'm the one who's off. Yee! Say people. Hooray! Say people. Thank you, say people. I also say thank you. So tier 1 subs to Float My Goat, to Red Elephant, to Airtight Alibi, to Victor, and to Isabella. Fantastic. Barca says, I feel like I only have enough time in my life to be very good at 2 or 3 things, and conversation with theology are sadly not one of them. Alas, alas. Well, you shouldn't have left Bible college when you did, my dude. Hey, I'm glad you're sticking around. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Oh, wait a minute. What? On YouTube says, when are you coming down to Dothan, Joffrey? My friends the Holland said you're coming down. Yes. I will be in Dothan in probably the 3rd week of June. Wait a minute. I will be in Dothan the 3rd week of June, most likely. Send me a message on some platform, and I can let you know the details. Thanks again, Mifuki. You're awesome. I'm probably being super loud and distressing the neighbors right now. These apartments are quite close to each other. Wait a minute, I'll buy you a beer then, my friend. Awesome. Very cool. So, wait a minute. I know the Hollands, and you know where I know the Hollands from. But how do we know each other? And we're connected on any other platform. No problem, my brother, says Mifuki. I want a sandwich. Hello, hello. What is up? You know, just enjoying that streaming life. Sipping on some vodka and smoking back down south from Briarworks. Can we get a shout out for Ivanta Sandwich? He's a video game streamer, y'all. Shooters, other whatnots and whatnot. Go check him out. Wait a minute, it's J.E. Myers. Yeah, I know J.E. Myers. Ivanta Sandwich is gigantic. Yeah, man, I'm having a good time over here smoking my backy. Talking a little theology mostly. Ivanta Sandwich is working on that content creation life, you know? Yeah. Ivanta Sandwich is also on YouTube, by the way, guys. I am much too sober, says Isaac, to contribute to this theological conversation. I should be a listener. Fair enough. Although there is a solution to that you probably have at hand. Cheers, sandwich. Cheers, all. Yeah, Sandy Witch. So I want to know at this point if Mifuki has both chats open. That's what I'm really curious to know. I'm pleased Isabella got one of those subs. She is super cool. Uptown girl. Man, how many quotes are up there right now? I need to go look on Streamlabs and figure it out. Yeah, Mifuki's got both chats open. I love that. He came rushing over when Yoshi showed up. That's what it was. 4 codes right now. Okay. And one quote definitely uses the word but twice. Not the Newsboys. No, we're just building a culture over here. For sure, Mifuki. It definitely helps. Helps see people we know. It's funny how much we get to know each other through all this online stuff. We see video of each other. We type messages to each other in this platform or that platform. I mean, there were people in here earlier on YouTube. I think Isaac was one of them, was still here. Who like discovered me like 10 years ago when I was doing just pipe videos on YouTube. It's crazy. Jaden quotes the chat. Put it up. Yep, that's right. Yeah. I'm actually not sure if it's just the mods. I think it's just the mods who can add quotes. But yes. But they're only on Twitch, Jaden. You can see them on the screen. But Isaac, I'm curious, Joffrey. You currently have over 8,000 subs on YouTube plus your other online spaces. I know you're doing this for the money, but rather is it just to build a community? You're not doing this for the money. Money helps. I used to actually make a decent amount of money off of this, not anymore. But rather it's just to build a community in place. That's it, right? So it doesn't really matter to me that I'm not, that the money, for example, helped me move to Brazil back in the day. It helped me stay in Brazil for a while. It was great. But no, it's all about community. That's what I'm interested in, just being able to talk to people. Mifuki, that's an interesting thought. What are your thoughts on the idea that some people have that Twitter or Twitch isn't real life? Well, it's real life, but it's limited. I mean, all conversation and interaction is limited to some degree. We are all veiled from each other. We are veiled from ourselves often. It's real life. You just have to be aware of what the positives and the negatives are, what the benefits and the pitfalls are. That's one of the reasons I really like our Discord, Isaac, because that's kind of where we can hang out in a more leisurely sense. Although with the rugby rugby going the way it's been going, I've actually been a little absent from my Discord the last couple of weeks. But I mean, it's its own community, and I love that. And we have some weird conversations in there, y'all. I particularly like the community that the lives bring, right? The lives are streams. I think I call them lives because the Brazilians call them lives. Anyway, just having that spontaneous interaction, etc. That's my favorite. But then the comments, and then being able to actually talk, say on Twitter, which I recently deleted, but that was good. Discord is awesome. Discord and WhatsApp, right? So WhatsApp is big with the Brazilians. It's 1:30 in the morning in Brazil, which is why there are none left. A community thing is kind of why I've always done it. You can actually check out a podcast I did with Cannon Calls, where I talk about that quite a bit. But I've never really followed, at least not wholeheartedly, strategies for growth. And also, it's also made me sustainable. Like, I'm always interested in doing this because I just need a few people to be around talking and engaging and proposing stuff, and if those people are around, and they come and go over the years, that makes it worthwhile for me. That's what it's all about. I know these kind of sound like platitudes, but it is really why I do it. Chris says, Joff, my favorite YouTubers are the ones where you played that one game. Well, what game is that? Are you being cagey on purpose? Jaden, I would stick around longer. It was 12:35 a.m. here and I have to drive 14 hours. Oh, so I'm going to bed. Yep. Thank you. Jaden, sleep tight, my dude. Mifuki, you've been a content creator for a long time now, huh? But I think you've got the right attitude. Yeah. Yep. And it allows me to take breaks. And I actually did, like when I went to work for that one ministry, I basically like broke the back of my online presence. But when I started back up, it kind of just didn't matter. I knew there'd still be some folks around. I apologized to everybody before I did it. I took everything offline for a year. Yeah. Oh, the imposter. Yeah, dude, that's a that's a fun game. I'm glad you like that one, man. The philosophy one, is that what you mean? The philosophy imposter game. That was pretty great. Oh, that cut together. Yeah. It was kind of a weird one. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, that's part of the Joffrey the Giant and Plow and Potato crew here in Moscow that we were playing with. Oh, and I think Desert and Cookie were both there. Fun little crew. Have you ever played Among Us, Chris? I guess not, since you called it that imposter game. Never mind. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ducky was there. And how am I forgetting your daughter's username right now? Something saucy. Ducky and... oh, goodness. Remind me, guys. The dude abides. Yep. Still abiding. Yeah, that's funny, Chris. I actually like watching rather than playing a lot of games. She's a that's why. I forgot because she is a ninja. Ninja Kitty, of course. Ninja Kitty and Ducky were there. Sean, I really wanted to play more. That game is quite intense. It's a blast. But to get 10 people together to play for an hour is not cool, and I don't think I can handle it much more than that. And I'm not going to play randoms. Sorry, I was listening to the night noises, trying to decipher them. Nafukio, what are your thoughts on violence in video games? Maybe just in media in general. Well, probably similar to the one, movies, etc. Immodesty is always a sin. I understand that there are different, you can interpret what modesty and immodesty are a little differently, and that's legitimate. But whatever immodesty is, we know it's always a sin. So immodesty on screen, well, it's always immodesty. But violence is not always a sin. And showing sins is actually a good thing. Actually committing sins is a bad thing, right? So you can be immodest on camera and you're actually sinning. And by participating in that as a viewer, you're sinning too. But to show someone stealing or, tell a story that you know that there's adultery or whatever, or showing a murder, or showing a soldier killing somebody, all of that's fine. I think there are senses in which people can get, just take pleasure in the violence itself instead of in the story. But, basketball teaches young people to compete and defeat the enemy. I think that's great. And besides the moral aspect, there's also the storytelling aspect. So I'm a big fan of violence in video games. I'll just say big fan. It can be a little stupid to have video games where you like kill 200 people in 2 minutes. But speaking of violence, I need to watch the new Mortal Kombat tonight. Right? So or maybe ripping out spinal cords may be a little bit too much too. Chris. Yoshi, violence against evil. Exactly, that's a good thing. And for violence against evil in a story or in a video game to mean something, the evil has to be violent too. So yeah, tell the whole thing. What was the greatest lesson in your 30s? Oh, Barca, I need to think about that one. Yeah, blasting demons in Doom, man. Yeah, last time I played Doom was like 1995. Especially against adults preventing violence in real life. This is Cookie. Yeah? Much like a story. Right, exactly. Because you're being taught to be wise in your use of violence. Greatest lesson from my 30s. I guess that staying on task bears fruit. I always approached work through cleverness. And I still kind of do. But I had some jobs that taught me, like, honestly, like, for the first time, like, oh, that does kind of work. Beating against something for a long time sometimes is the only way to get something done. Before that, I used to think, well, beating against something forever is stupid, so there must be no way to do this. And then I saw people actually just, literally, like when I think of when I was working in construction, moonlighting in construction with a friend's company, and there was one day where a piece didn't fit. We were putting together these concrete forms to pour a wall. These heavy pieces. I thought, this piece didn't fit. We just beat at it with a hammer for an hour. There's no way that should have made sense. But eventually, like, it fit. And we were able to move forward with the project. That was big for me, understanding that. Well, I am going to start to wind down. Get ready for a big rugby Saturday tomorrow. As I said, I'm currently in my 30s, and the lesson I'm learning is that the value of sacrifice and delayed gratification. Yep. Yeah, Cookie, absolutely. An absolute plaisir. Let me see if anyone's streaming I should raid. Barca says me as well. Ultimately focus. Yeah, that's right, exactly. Twitch isn't liking me right now. Come on, say hi. I appreciate everyone popping in. I appreciate the 5 big subs from Ifuki. I appreciate Cookie and Desert doing what they do, coming in with those 14 months. It looks like a raid's not going to be happening tonight. So on YouTube, guys, and on Twitch, thanks for popping in. I like how this is working, where everyone's getting to interact with each other. We can kind of see what's on the screen there, so we can actually kind of, across the platforms, that everyone actually can kind of talk. I appreciate you guys. One send off. God bless you, sir. Says Brad. Thanks in line. Yeah, man. I'm all about the banter. David, good night. Absolutely. Not sure what one send off means, Mifuki, but I'm going to send you off. The peace of Christ be upon all of you.